And it's all yours, David. Let's go for it.
Forgot you muted me as well. So hey, welcome everyone. That was a great presentation this morning. Super interesting. Now I know about the polar donut. I did not know about the polar donut before. I had my suspicions that there was a giant donut out there somewhere. So thanks to Jason for arranging that. It was great. Great presentation, super informative, and thanks to everyone for their participation and the great questions. That always makes it nice. We can watch a YouTube video for sure, but it's great to have someone live with us and get our questions out there. So for President's Report, I don't have anything for you. Just a reminder, we will be taking nominations for our elections, which will be at next month's club meeting. So keep that in mind. That'll be coming up later in the agenda. And Phil, are you ready for the Vice President's business?
I actually got everything done during the presentation, so yay.
All right, so I'll hand it off to Phil.
All right, let's see here. It's like, well, we did have a thing. It's like, it looks like we do have a quorum, way more than enough. We had a good number of people here today. And now we're going to look for approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the last general meeting as published in the relay?
N7RHE, I so move.
Seconded.
And looks like Sam will second it. All in favor? It's like, well, do we have yes and no, Jim? I don't think everybody does. There we go. Go ahead and submit your votes now.
Members,
Excuse me.
Members only, please.
Sorry. This is just the secretary. I have Sam Sullivan as motioning. Who was the second?
let's put in David because I saw his hand up. W7DAO.
Okay.
And I'm going to end the polling. We have
100%
38.
unanimous. All right. Minutes are approved. Thank you, Jim. And now we're going to go ahead and move along here to prospective member consideration. We'll begin that one with K5 ETN. Vern, go ahead and tell us a bit about yourself for the club. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Vern, K5 ETN. Go ahead and tell us a bit about yourself if you could, please. No?
Hello.
Hi. It's like, hi, hello, Vern. Go ahead and it's like got you down as a prospective member for today. So go ahead and tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I was unmute the video here.
There we go.
Yeah, I started into radio with CB many years ago, and got involved in radio direction finding clubs in San Diego, California. Had a lot of fun with that, and just kind of kept that going for a while. I was U.S. Navy electronics technician, worked in USS Barber County, 1195 for 4 years. Spent some time there. I was in the Army for 6 months, in the Air Force for an additional 4. So that sums up my military career, basically. Air Force was involved with communications, navigation, electronics in the F-4 Phantoms. That was a lot of fun. Other than that, I got out of the military and got into a career with National Semiconductor for a number of years. Got into Civil Air Patrol, which got me back into radio again, and very interested in that. And did a lot of radio direction finding for ELTs and other things. Pretty much very good at that kind of thing. Taught a lot of people about how communications and that kind of thing, DFing works. So I did that for a while. In 2010, we left Texas, where we were at the moment, came up to the Pacific Northwest here, live in Kent currently. And I studied for my technician license, got that, I believe it was last August, and got a new call sign 2 weeks ago, K5ETN. So kind of excited about that possibility. I learned about your club through Alan. He's one of your members. Works at the same machine shop I currently do. And interested in joining the club, learning more about this hobby and what I can do to be helpful with it or not.
Fantastic. Thank you, Vern. Anybody have any questions or comments? Go ahead and speak up now.
Why'd you go from the Navy to the Air Force?
Ooh.
Oh,
Ooh,
Well,
so
it was just something that happened. I got out of the Navy and I looked at the Army Guard for a little while and found out that the guy that was in charge of that group had totally lied to me about any possibilities on working in electronics. So I jumped out of that and went up to the Air Force, and they took me in instantly and got into working on that stuff. So that's kind of how that happened.
Oh, I'm not disparaging the decision. I'm just curious because I
Yeah.
was Air Force and Air National Guard, worked on F4s, so I was an instrument troop. So that's why. Just curious.
Yeah.
Interesting career path.
you have
Yeah.
any of
It's
those,
definitely been that.
Do you have any of those super duper antennas they use on airplanes for finding localizers? Those do great for DFing.
No, I don't have any of those currently. The deefing work I did way back in the 70s in CB radio, I had a small loop antenna. Also a dummy load, I found out hanging a dummy load in front of the radiator made that super directional and super close range. So I've played around with antennas. I've done a lot. I've learned you can do a lot with antennas. I created a dipole for a CB, and CB radio, you typically don't get more than 2-3 miles, maybe 5 if you're lucky. I was talking 32 miles on a full wave dipole to the next town down the road from where we lived. So that was quite exciting.
cool. Okay. Anybody else have any questions or comments before we move on? Not hearing anything. Okay. Thank you, Vern. Go ahead and move along here to our next prospective member, and that is Brandon Fickett, K2FIQ. Go ahead and tell us a bit about yourself and the club.
Well, good morning, folks. Name here is Brandon Fickett. If you can tell from the accent, I'm originally from the South United States, born and raised in Alabama. Left Alabama, went to New York, spent about 8 years up there working for in the IT field for a publishing company, and then made my way out to Pacific Northwest. I worked for Amazon in the IT field. I got into ham radio back in, well, going way back. My dad was into it, although he never got his ticket. So there was a little bit of a passion cultivated there from a young age, listening to radio. In 2013, though, I finally got my tech ticket up in New York and played around a little bit, checked in on a couple of nets, was able to bounce some APRS packets off the International Space Station and was super excited about that. Then life got busy and made it out here to the Pacific Northwest and decided I wanted to get back into it, and currently studying for my general. And excited to listen to the great presentation this morning. It was nice to learn some about the sunspots and solar radiation. I'm definitely have a passion for aerospace and space in general. So it was nice to get that information and look forward to learning. That's about it.
Great, thanks, Brandon. Yeah, it's like definitely go after that general. It's worth it. HF is a lot of fun. So, is there any questions or comments for Brandon?
I have a question, Brandon. Are you a card-carrying member of the Crimson Tide?
I actually went to Auburn University, so I'd have to say War Eagle there. But yeah, my father was a big Alabama fan, so Roll Tide was heard very often in the household.
Anybody else? I'm not hearing anything else. So thanks, Brandon, for joining us today. And we'll go ahead and move along here to the next one, the next prospective member, which is Eric Peterson, KG7 NOC. Go ahead and tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, hey, thanks. Well, like Brandon, I'm a software engineer in the IT field for a little company out of Redmond. And I got into, I got my ticket back in 2014 because I was getting into drones and thought I might need it for some video equipment that I wanted to carry on my larger Octos. I'm also a private pilot, fly little GA planes and building a plane. That's, and then COVID hit and a bunch of other family stuff hit. And so I turned on the radio in November. So my first contact was back in November with voice. So now I'm sitting here with a 991 Alpha and a Rode mixer and having all sorts of fun. I joined PSRG, switch cameras real quick here, and working on, this is the 6-meter repeater, the transmit side for the PSRG 6-meter repeater, getting ready to go up in Capitol Park. A little TP'd in there, that's for auto cooling and monitoring. Got the CDN 750. There's an RTCM for the Echolink and All-Star. Little Henry 300 watt amplifier. A small power, small 40 amp power supply. Although that one's going to be staying here, and a little bit of a dummy load because I'm still trying to get my 6-meter Dominator antenna up. Weather and stars have not been aligning for that. Let's switch back my camera. So the stars haven't really been aligning to get my antenna up to get the transmitter actually working. So it's going through the dummy load. Had an excellent conversation with Michelle, Mark, and Jim one evening on one of the Zoom meetings. We really got into some geeky nostalgia with Michelle and her VT lookalike monitor that was behind her. Anyway, we had some really good conversations about some old tech. I used to work for Digital Equipment as a field tech. So anyway. That's me in a nutshell. My QRZ is up to date, so if anybody wants to go check it out, feel free. It's there. Ready for questions?
Go ahead. Questions or comments for Eric?
Michelle, go
Eric,
ahead.
AU1J, wondering what model of aircraft you're building.
I am building a Wheeler Express Series 90 Ariga. It's a vinyl ester composite aircraft. If you're familiar with Glass Air, it's essentially a Glass Air 2 that's been stretched to 4 seats. It started its life cycle down in Gig Harbor, where they were. I was just having a side chat with November 7 Charlie Juliet Romeo on my plane, but yeah, it started its life in Gig Harbor and actually bringing up Alabama, the guy that I bought it from a NASA engineer, bought the parts from a NASA engineer in Alabama. And so, but yeah, it's a slick plane, but I mostly fly slow planes these days.
Very good. Thank you.
Thanks.
And Mark, I may be able to get you an ADF antenna because I think we're removing some equipment.
Hey, there you go. Okay. Is there any other questions or comments for Eric?
Michelle, go ahead. And
I saw your hand, Michelle.
Okay, thank you. Well, Eric, I was wondering, and it's probably out there to find, but what's the frequency of the 6 meter repeater for a PSRG that's going up?
Oh my goodness. Can I don't have that memorized. Can I, it'll just take me a moment to go look it up and I'll private message you, or I'll message everybody.
Yeah, just
I'll just
post in
send a
the
message
chat.
to
That's
everybody.
great.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you very much.
Put a
Welcome.
picture of your plane and how far you are along as well.
Okay,
curious.
so I am a
Class.
I'm a home builder, right? So a home builder is always 90% done, 90% to go. My fuselage is up in Arlington in a temporary hangar while I have a hangar being built across the field. But let's see. So avionics is in work. So I think we probably have a good solid 4 man months to go on that. And so now what the plane will look like
Oh yeah.
is
Nice.
this is the RG version. Mine will be fixed gear.
That is nice. What's the cruise speed on that?
Cruise is right around 170. It depends on the horsepower that I get. That I've got an IO 540 Charlie 4 Bravo 5 going into it. So it's fuel injected. Probably get 250 to 270 horses out of it, which will give me top speed somewhere around 185 knots.
Cool. Very nice.
Eric,
Thank
do you pack your own parachute?
Hell no. No.
Smart man.
I'm not a skydiver, but I'll have Snohomish skydiving pack mine.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Any other questions before we move on? Not hearing anything. Thank you. The next one we've got on my list here, next prospective member is Harlan Falcon, WB7HF. Go ahead and tell us a bit about yourself.
Thank you, and good to see everyone this morning. Very interesting meeting for sure. Learned a lot just watching that presentation for sure. So I'm retired 2 years now. I was born in New York City. My family moved to Seattle when I was 10. And shortly after that, across the street, this older man had this enormous tower with a lot of aluminum rods sticking out of the top of it. And one day went over to ask him what it was. And he brought me into this amazing ham radio station full of all kinds of expensive Collins gear back in the 1960s. And he turned it on for me, and I had my first conversation. It turned out that the gentleman I was talking to was located in Moscow. That got my attention, and became quite interested in how does this all work when I was about 12 or 13 years old. School and sports and girls and college and things got in the way, and I didn't get licensed until 1974 after graduating from college, and got going in ham operating world at that point as a novice, and then eventually a general license, which I've held since since about 1976. And then with a family and career, I didn't really do a lot with the radio license. My career was in construction management, and then after retiring, I started listening back into the radios and decided I'd get back on the air, and then COVID came along, and so that gave me a lot of time and spurred my interest even further in radio, and just passed my amateur extra exam this past January, a few weeks ago.
Right.
So I've been enjoying working the lower bands and parts of the lower bands that I hadn't been able to access before, and just having a terrific time doing it. And part of my motivation for joining the club is to get to know other people with very similar interests and perhaps similar backgrounds. I actually studied and graduated in physics from the University of Washington. And along the way in my career with building construction, all of it's been commercial properties, industrial buildings, and tall high-rise office buildings. I became interested in the use of drones in monitoring construction activities in places that I couldn't climb up to safely while it was being built. So I am a licensed FAA licensed drone pilot, as part of that interest leading me to documenting building construction and sharing data with the construction teams based on flying around the construction sites, which was so much fun that I got into flying radio controlled airplanes just for the fun of it. And so as a fairly newly retired person, I'm having a blast, in summary. But my interest in radio goes way, way back. And I'm just excited as can be to be back on the air and exploring all the different details. I have to say, I wasn't on the air for about 25 years. And I did hook up my old equipment and it works. I was having a terrible time with the background noise and filtering it out. So I started looking at, what are people doing these days? And the advances in equipment in 25 years just is astounding to me. And so I treated myself to a new rig, which all of a sudden filters out a lot of those noises that were getting in my way. And it's just made things so much more enjoyable. And then I got a little 2-meter ham radio as well and joined the PSRG group. And I'm somewhat active on the various nets depending on my time, doing other hobby things and family things. So you'll hear me on 2-meter repeaters locally as well. I'm a little bit restricted. I live in a condominium near Shilshole Marina, so I can't put up anything large in the way of an antenna, but I'm learning how to do workarounds on that issue. So it's been fun and challenging to try to come up with some solutions. And I'm going to try a few things that were mentioned today with the wire antennas for the higher bands, because I can probably sneak a few wires out the window without anybody worrying too much about it. So I'll give that a try. My only claim to antenna building was I was one of the first people when the hex beam was invented to be asked to try it out and experiment with it. This was a very long time ago, and the original hex beam was built by an individual who lived somewhere in the Midwest, and he wrote an article in the QST magazine, and I had contacted him about that antenna. So he actually sent me a prototype to play with. And in those days, I owned a home in Shoreline, so I could put it up on the roof on a little rotator. And it was really my first time with a beam antenna, and to see how far that's evolved to these days has been very rewarding to see.
Fantastic.
So I'll be quiet now. I don't want to talk too much, but Yeah, it's very nice to see you all and to hear all the interesting things that you are all involved in. It's really great.
Fantastic. Thank you, Harlan, for joining us today. Very interesting. Does anybody have any questions for Harlan? Go ahead and speak up now. Not hear anything. Looks like you covered it all. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Okay, next, and the last one I've got here on my list is Mark Schupp, K7NZL. Go ahead and tell us a little about yourself for the group here.
Good morning. Well, I grew up in Dayton, Ohio, so many of you will know about Dayton because of the Hamvention. So my first exposure to amateur radio was really just from being steeped in a community that was very welcoming to hams. My dad worked at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and several of his buddies were in the hobby, so I was exposed at a fairly young age. As a kid, I took an active interest in shortwave DXing and listening into stations around the world, and found that fascinating. And like most folks, I drifted away from interest in radio as other things took over my life, and eventually found myself working in the emergency management field down in Portland, Oregon. I was the operations manager for the Portland Office of Emergency Management, which meant I ran the EOC. And so I got licensed in 2008 as a general class ham, and been licensed since. Mostly active in 2 meters and 70 centimeters, doing MCOM stuff. That's where I met Jim and learned about Mike and Key. He was sitting next to me at a meeting back when we actually met in person. And he keeps us well apprised at Seattle ACS on Mike and Key activities. So been very interested in learning about other modes and other bands besides the ones I've used for emergency communications. I spent about 25 years in the fire service, off and on in various places. 10 years of my life was spent in New Zealand, where I was the regional commander for the fire service there, covered a big part of the South Island, and worked closely with the amateur radio community there as part of our emergency communications setup. These days, since retiring from the fire service, I've been working as a consulting engineer in fire protection. Like Harlan, I spent a lot of time working in the building construction area, predominantly in commercial construction. I deal with structural fire engineering, fire protection systems, fire alarm systems, life safety, egress, emergency power, and those types of things for our clients who are primarily large industrial and commercial firms. Spent a few years in the Air Force, so I've got a connection to aviation and some of those other folks out there. I spent most of my time on the ground waiting for folks to land as a firefighter and hoping that things went well. And so that was my 6 years in the Air Force, and that's what led me to my career in the public fire service. So really interested in learning more about this hobby and more about other modes and bands from the members of this club, and expanded my radio horizons as I move towards a retirement where I can spend more time in the shack.
Yeah, thank you, Mark, for joining us today. Does anybody have any questions for Mark?
Eric.
Go ahead.
Yeah, more of a comment than a question. Hey, Mark, thanks for your time on the ground.
Well, yeah, I did work with F4s. They had a unique history. They were a fun plane to work on when they had in-flight emergencies. Yeah, just one quick comment. That background is the Bethany relay station for Voice of America. It's just down the road from where I grew up, and it's now the home of the Voice of America National Museum. But that's the Bethany relay station.
I was going to ask you if you get to hook up to it.
No, it's a lovely, lovely setup, isn't it?
Wow.
Yeah, they also had an extra low frequency array out there, which is pretty cool.
are you able to put up any kind of antennas where you currently live?
Yeah, I'm in the Matthews Beach neighborhood in Northeast Seattle, so not too restricted. The topography here makes elevation still a challenge, but yeah,
Okay,
I can
thanks.
get better propagation north-south than east-west.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mark, for joining us today. Anybody else before we go ahead and start voting on folks?
Hey, Phil, so,
Yeah, I responded to him.
oh, no, I was gonna ask you, so there's 6? Is that right? I'm
No,
showing
there
6.
was 5. It's like James. It's like applied after the
Oh, okay.
meeting this month.
That's right. Okay.
And it's like, yeah, James, we'll get to your application at the March board meeting, and then we'll vote on you at the March general meeting.
No problem.
But thank you for joining us.
No problem.
Okay. So hang on real quick. I need to adjust this so I don't mess things up. Okay, so I am going to move each of the 5 candidates into the waiting room, and we'll talk behind your back and vote and then bring you back. So hang on.
Okay, let's get back to my spreadsheet here, and we'll go through them in order here. All right, the first one.
Hang on. Oh, it looks like I lost somebody.
Oh.
Oh, no.
What?
So I've got Brandon, Vern, Mark, and Harlan. Who did I?
Eric.
Eric. Okay.
I don't know how the V came in from. I'll
sorry.
rename it. I'll get that renamed.
Okay. And I'll put you in. Hang on. There you go.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. So we're ready.
All right. So the first one we have up for consideration this morning is Vern Adderman, K5ETN. Any comments about him behind his back here? Before we vote. Not. Oh, nothing. Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and do a vote here. Thank you, Jim.
Okay. Members only.
Just members only. Yes. Thank you.
Only comment I had is that we did an exceptional group of applications today.
Yeah, I know. I agree. All seem very enthusiastic about ham radio, and that's great.
Yeah, and very active.
Very active.
Our president failed to ask his leading question about what are they doing in June.
Oh, we forgot to do that.
Yeah, sorry, I've been trying to reduce the number of like repetitive inside jokes that we
need to start over.
We need to start over. But for everybody else, it's
yeah. And this year we're going to be working from home anyway, so. Okay, I'm going to end the poll and share the results. 43 voted, so we are good.
Yep, thank you. Vern is in. Go ahead and move along here to Brandon. Any comments, concerns, or anything like that about Brandon? K2FIQ. Yep. Well, Jim already got the vote up here, so go ahead and cast your votes now.
Okay, 5 more seconds. Okay, I'm going to share the results, and we had 42 votes, 100%.
Thank you, Jim. Eric, let's go on and move along here to Eric. Any comments or concerns? KG7 NOC.
Worked with Eric over PSRG, is very active, demonstrated really technically sharp as all of our candidates are, but he's a good guy. He'll be a great addition to the club.
All right, yeah, thanks, Jason. I agree with that. Seems pretty technically adept. Go ahead and, well, Jim brought up the vote here, so go ahead and cast your votes, members only.
Okay. 5 more seconds. Looks like we got 42 voted that time, so we're good.
Eric is in. Next, we've gone to Harlan WB7HF. Any comments or concerns or anything of the like?
I like his call.
I know I do too. Seems appropriate. Nothing else? Okay, go ahead, Jim.
Like Hal says, the last couple of months, the technical background of a lot of our new members is just phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree.
Pretty cool.
Going reviewing these applications, and it's like, wow, some impressive backgrounds. I agree.
Okay.
Okay.
So 43 on that vote also. So we're good.
Great, thank you, Jim. Harlan is in. And the last one you got here is Mark, K7NZL. Any comments, concerns, or anything before we move on to a vote? Nope.
Don't forget your payment, Spiel.
Yep, I'll be doing that when I rejoin.
Yep.
Show me the money. All righty, 5 more seconds. People voting good.
I noticed with these applicants in the last few months that, like was mentioned, the quality of backgrounds is amazing. And we have a lot more dialogue with the questions for them and whatnot than we ever did when we were meeting live, and more questions and answers.
Yep. 42 voted that time. So it looks like we're good.
Yep, Mark is in. Go ahead and bring him back into the room. Open the
Okay.
door, as I say.
Open the door and let him in. Okay, welcome back everybody, and congratulations, you're now members, well, almost members, because in the chat room, in the chat window, if you could go online and send your first years of worth of dues, then you're officially a member, but you're voted in. So welcome back to our 5 new candidates, 5 new members.
Right, well, thanks, Jim, for that reminder there. And I don't have anything else for the group here, so I'll turn it back over to El Presidente.
Oh, we'll move on to Jason with the activity manager report.
Great, thanks, David. Well, so I'll make it quick. The activity for next month, we've got Dave Kastler, KE0OG, great YouTube channel, Ham Radio Answers. We'll be able to have him come on board, and I think his topic is still to be determined. Is that correct, Jim?
Yeah, I need to touch base with him. I left it open like I have with all the others.
So it should be exciting. He's got a wonderful YouTube channel. In fact, we're using his content, his training content, to augment the sessions that Jim has been running for all 3 classes.
Licensing class, yep.
Great, yeah. I'll remind everyone, if you could, if you've got any gear donations for future auctions, that would be wonderful. Remember, all proceeds go to our end of year gift in December. Love to be able to have some items that we can put out there. And maybe generate some funds for the club, which would be wonderful. Or if you've got any odds or ends, radio, knickknacks, tools, things that might be good door prizes. I'd really like to be able to kick back off or start the door prize options, just to have some more fun. It's something we talked about last year and just haven't had motion on it yet. So I'd like to be able to do that for folks and, see what we can add to the fun. If you've got any ideas or you'd like to donate something, remember activities@mikeandkey.org is where you can email me at. I'd appreciate it. And that's it for my end. Back to David.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. Thanks, Jason and Jim, for arranging these presentations. They're awesome. So I think we're all getting spoiled. You guys have set really high expectations for us. Let's move on and see if Jim, if you have a treasurer's report, you have anything to report this month?
Yeah, really quick. The books are in order, and I notice in the email alerts from the USPS that our license plate tabs for the trailers, our field day trailers, are coming in. And then I also picked up the awards trophies that we announced in the August 2020 meeting. So I have the Lifetime Member Award for Joe KJ7DG. I have a Swap Meet MVP Award for KC7UOC, Lifetime Achievement Award for Diane DB7DNE, Field Day MVP for Phil and Rita KB7CNU, Jim Etzweiler Helping Hands for Toku, Joel Hallstrom Friendship Award to Gary Bryan, and Ken Jackson Elmer Award for Dick Lundstrom, and Pop Brown for myself and Tim Kane. So I will contact everybody via email and get connected with everybody so we can hand off those awards, because we're going to be doing awards in the next couple of months again for the 2020 season. And that's all I've got.
Awesome. Thanks. Let's move along to old business. So I'll summon Scott. Scott, I think nominations would be old business. Or I don't know. Scott's still.
It's really wherever you wanted it. You
All
have
right.
the agenda, dude.
There you go.
All right, we need to take nominations now for the elections that we'll hold during next month's meeting. Pretty much, we have all of the officers need nominations. We also have trustees number 1, number 3, and number 5 that are up for election. Since this is an odd year, the odd numbered trustee positions are elected because the trustees are for a 2-year term, the officers are for a 1-year term. So I guess I'll open with looking for nominations for president. I have on my list K7PAA on the list for that. So I'd like to open it up to you to nominate other folks to nominate themselves or nominate someone else. Sounds like crickets. Is that what they would say? Not much happening here. Okay, going twice for president. Going thrice for president. Okay, for hearing nothing, we'll move on to vice president. For vice president.
Chuck or Scott, I got a quick comment. You might want to, for the new members who have joined the last recently, you might want to let them know a little bit about affect our election process, and that they can self-nominate if they're so interested in the position.
Well, it's not like I didn't say you could nominate yourself, but what we do is we do an election for the officer positions. If you're a member or a new member and need more information on that, you can look at the bylaws, which of the club, which gives a lot of information. I'm not going to sit here and read them at the meeting. For each of the positions, what your responsibilities are and what you can do. There's only one position that who the nominees have to be board approved, and that is the treasurer. The others are open for any club member, basically. So anyway, I took the nominations for president. They basically run the meeting here, and other things as depicted in the bylaws. So I'm now going to take nominations for vice president. For vice president, I have AG7T and KD7IQL. I'm going to have to remove AG7T from the list because my wife has me doing some additional stuff this summer, so I won't have time to be the vice president for the club. Can I have other nominations or comments for vice president? Come on, this is a good position for folks to get into. You saw what Phil did here with managing, getting members into the club, etc. Phil, you had something?
It's like, yeah, you get to take attendance at the meeting, keep track of all that, the spreadsheets, and you get to process applications and all that. It's actually a lot of fun. I think people would enjoy it.
And archive all the past applications.
Yes, correct.
So, any nominations for vice president? Going once, going twice, going third time. Okay, we'll move on to secretary. I don't have any nominations for secretary right now. James, do you want to say something about what you do as secretary?
Yeah, you are responsible for the minutes. You know, make sure that you don't put too much in the minutes, but they're published in the relay. It's pretty easy stuff. If we were physically together, and hopefully that'll be soon, you would, you're responsible for official correspondence. So if we have to send out any letters or, sympathy cards or whatever, then that would be in your bailiwick. So it's a secretary position. Easy stuff.
Good question, James. Are you in the first or second year of your 2-year term?
I'm not going to be returning. So I'm in the first year, but I'm not coming back. So.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, nominations for secretary. There should be someone out there that wants to help out with this fine duties. Hello?
As Mark mentions, every member is eligible. The more you put in, the more you get out of it. Good comment.
Secretary's not that bad. I did it for 2 years. It's kind of fun taking the minutes and kind of learning how things work.
Plus you get a vote on the board because you're an officer. So
correct.
If there's things you don't like about the club or you think we're doing a crappy job, it's an opportunity to have a say.
As well as the fun of helping put the budget together.
Yeah, all the board members vote equally, just FYI. It's not like the president or the chairman or anybody has, more power than anybody else. It's like the board trustees and all the officers make up the board and all have the same vote. So,
Hey, Carl,
Yeah.
you up for that?
Say it again, Mark.
Did somebody say my name?
Yeah. Hi, Carl. Are you up for that?
I'm going to go ahead and volunteer since I've been with the club for too long and haven't done any positions yet. So I will caveat that with don't make my wife mad. That's all I got to say. Okay. And I will be asking for advice and assistance. So
Of course.
if I get accepted and voted in, so there's that too. So I'm going to do everything to derail my my campaign.
All right, so I have N7CJR for secretary. Any other nominations?
Yes.
You can nominate yourself. You can nominate
I
someone
heard a
else.
train going by.
Thanks for stepping up, Carl. I have
That's
some
my
help for you.
disk drive making noise.
Oh, spinning up. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Better be careful, Michelle. You may regret thanking me. So
I don't
Come on.
mind helping.
there's got to be somebody else.
Let's see. Second call for treasurer, for secretary. Get that thumb in the right place. Hearing none. Third call for secretary.
So Mark, you're in trouble. You know that. If I get in trouble, you get in trouble.
Yeah, everybody gets in trouble.
I'm throwing you under the bus first.
That's why we have a board, so we all can get in trouble together. Treasurer, I have K7JIM, who's graciously accepted continuing to be treasurer. Like I said, this position does require board approval of the nominees. So that means if you want to get into that board approval process, you need to be nominated now. Can't be nominated in March.
No.
So second call for treasurer. Hearing nothing. Third call for treasurer. Okay, well, I guess we'll go to activities manager. Activities manager, I have Jason, KJ7GLB. Again, he's there. He was there for this year. So this will be the second year of it. Well, maybe not the second year of his term. So I think he joined in the middle. Any other nominations for activity manager? Actually, Jason, say something about what you do.
Yeah, Jason had to step out for his PSRG noontime nap.
Okay. So basically, Jason puts together the club presentations, the agendas. He gets help from everybody finding folks to the presentations like today. He also runs the raffle both. If we were in person, we have a in-person raffle. Here we have a virtual, I don't know what we called it. What did we call the one we do?
Auction.
Yeah. Okay. Auction.
Price.
All righty. So anyway, so those are things you get to do. You get to spend. You get to collect money from ticket sales when we do in person. You get to spend that money on prizes to be given out. So you have your own little budget, and you get to be creative in what you do. Anyone else want to add to what the activity manager does? Mark's done it.
It doesn't take any prior experience. The most you'll get out of it is talking to people and, you know, what was I going to say? If finding these presentations is really a piece of cake, it's you got to do a little bit of dusting to find them, but they're really in there. I was thinking, Brandon, K2 FIQ, this would be a great place for you to start in. Would you accept a nomination? You know, what we heard was, wow, knock it out of the park.
If I've got some help, I'll definitely try it. Yeah.
There's plenty of help. There's me, there's Jason. I can point my finger on several of these people who have held this position before that can really pump up.
Yeah, and I've worked with Jason also and to get some YouTube people to step in. And Manford was had suggested today's presenter. So yeah, everybody in the club kind of helps people out. So
yep,
we'll make it work.
All right, so I have K2 FIQ, I believe, on the list now for activities managers. Any other nominations? Okay, second call. Any nominations for activities manager? Or anything? Hold it, I hear something.
Is Jason still on that list?
Yeah, Jason's still on the list.
Jason said he would still be on the list. Yes.
Yep.
And he's not here to take himself off, but next month he could always do that. We don't know. All right, third call. Okay, that's it for activities management. Now, trustees, we're going to bundle them all together. These are for 3 trustee positions. The trustees, the folks I have nominated is Robert, KF7RWA, Jason, KJ7GLB, me, AG7T, Phil, K7PIA, and W7GPG, whose name I don't remember.
That's Jeff.
Jeff. See? Jeff, sorry. Okay, do I have any other folks that want to get on the list for trustees?
Hey, Scott.
Nominate yourself. This is a great way for new members to learn more about the club.
Scott, I'd like to nominate Jay, AE1J.
Jay?
Yep. Thank you very much, David. I'd be willing to do that. Absolutely.
Okay, I have AE1J added. Anyone else?
Yeah, like Scott said, it's a great way for new members to kind of get accustomed to how the board works and how the club works.
So you'll learn things you just never wanted to know about.
Yeah.
That's it's fun anyway. It's a good bunch of people. So any other nominations for trustees? Mark, are you going to say something?
Sorry, I just cleared my throat. But I pointed my finger down here to, how do you say her name? Brownin?
Bronwyn.
Would she accept the nomination to be one of the trustees?
Husband and wife team.
Oh, was that a up?
You're on mute, Bronwyn.
She's
Give us
working
a
on it. Give
thumbs
her a
up or a
second.
thumbs down. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
I don't even.
Okay.
What?
Can
There you
you
go.
hear me?
Yes.
So I think one trustee in the family's fine. Thank you,
Oh,
though.
well, I didn't know we had
Thank you.
one of the other ones in there.
Yep, that's Jay. He's my lighter half.
Oh, okay. Yeah, makes sense.
Any other nominees or discussion for trustees?
No.
Someone said something?
Nope.
Okay, going thrice, I guess, for trustees. We got 3 trustee positions up. Anyone else? The main responsibility of trustees is to interface with one of the standing committees for the club, and perform other continuity related stuff, since their terms are 2 years. So they bridge across actual board instances, because they're on 2 boards within their term. Anyone else? Last call. Then last call for any nomination for any position. I'll do that one more time in case some people had some thoughts. All right, I guess that's all I have. David, back to you.
All right. Do we have any other old business for the club? If not, we can move on to see if there's any new business. I hear none. So do we have any new business?
Hi, Dave, KI7BLV.
Go ahead.
My name is Dave, as I stated. I am the, can you still hear me? My iPod's just said, okay,
you're good.
10% battery left. I better get it out quick. I'm one of the hosts of the unaffiliated independent Puget Sound Digital Hams Net, and we've been hosting our net on weekly on the WW7 SEA on Columbia repeater, and we have been asked to whittle that to 1 day out of the month. We usually host every Monday. However, here, let me switch microphones here. This is going to die.
I think we lost your audio, Dave. We just have a funny buzz. Yeah.
How about now?
You're good.
Okay. As stated, we've been asked to bring that to 1 day out of the month on that repeater. However, the roster would like to continue on a weekly to keep our practice up. We use FL Digi for its one-to-many capabilities. So right now we are, well, first to back up a little bit, that's how I was introduced to one of my Elmers, Mark, W70AZ. And I got to meet him in person way back when we had in-person days. So this net means a lot to me just based on the relationships and what I've learned as well. And I believe Kurt Black, WR5J, was a founding member. So we want to keep it going. So we're in the process of asking local clubs who would, be willing to graciously host us for at least 1 Monday out of the month. We do have offers from Seattle ACS to use their network for one of those Mondays. And we also have, let's see, it's the Medical Services, WR7SRZ, has offered to host us for one of those Mondays. And it's only for an hour. So I don't know if that would be for March, if that would be a motion. But I was suggested last night that I put it off, see if this club would be willing to host us at least 1 Monday out of the month for an hour for the Digital Hams Net, so we can bring in more participation to keep the net going. It is an active roster, so I guess that's the motion. Is somebody walk me through the process?
So yeah, just we would just off to the radio officer. So Hal, you have some comments or questions?
Yeah, Dave, could you tell me what time you're looking at? We currently have a net on there right now at 7:30. Is that correct? for the?
Yes, right now the current net is 8 to 9 p.m. on Mondays.
For the
But
digital.
that's also open to what our hosts are offering as well. You know, potential hosts.
Yeah. What is our net? Our net time on Monday now goes from 7:30 to how long do you guys go?
That's the
Social net.
social net.
On that, up to an hour usually.
Yeah. So we have a net right now on Monday evenings that, well, in fact, it's a daily net. You know, we start 7:30 and usually goes at least around an hour or so. So. You know, their time is somewhat in conflict.
Right. Yeah. Monday is not etched in stone. It's we're just putting feelers and seeing what the options are.
Yeah, it's more of a time problem than I think a daytime because our social nets are a daily net.
Okay.
Dave,
well, if the net ends typically in an hour, so are we willing to open an 8:30 to 9:30 slot for them?
Well, that would tie into the Zoom meeting that is at 8:30.
Yeah,
but that doesn't use RF.
Right. Oh, you might want to put together a proposal. If you could send me an email, I'm the radio officer, and then I'll make a recommendation to the board. And
okay.
And keep in mind the times that we have right now, like I said, the time. So if you can, do a different time, like 8:30 to 9:30 or something like that, that may work. But I'll have to clear it with the current nets.
Okay. Thank you. I'll get into it.
Yeah, although sometimes the net does go a little longer, so keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, right.
Jim, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna backfill a little bit. So yeah, I can work with you too on that because I was the one that said, "Oh well, let's bring it up to the mic and key." So yeah, maybe move the start time of the digital to like 8:30 or 9 for the mic and key.
Yeah, but that's you're not on the net, right? On the web, Eric?
Yeah, so the Zoom stuff is completely separate, so we don't need to
it's
worry
completely
about that.
separate. So
Yep.
that's not an impact, but the length of the time of the, it's a social net. So sometimes it runs longer, sometimes it's shorter. So you might have to, maybe start at 9 and go to 10 or something like that. But that's getting kind of late.
Okay. I'll send an email.
Yeah. Do you have my email address?
I do not, unless I base it off your call sign QRZ.
Yeah, it's I don't even know if it's correct on, but N7NW.hal, HAL, at Comcast.net. And I will be sure to CC that to the board.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks for that. Any other new business? Okay, hearing none. Any go to the order items anybody might have before we end the meeting here? You can, of course, stay on and chat afterwards. But before we end.
This weekend is, go ahead.
Just have one little comment. I wonder how come Dinkelman isn't up on the CW contest.
I was just about to mention the CW contest that's going on this weekend.
He has an announcement.
I'm sure he's doing multitasking. He's sending CW right now as he sits there on the meeting.
Go ahead, Mike.
You're muted.
Yeah, I don't think so. Unfortunately, it just hasn't worked out that I can do the contest this weekend. I just want to remind that next week I'll be ordering the glasses. If you haven't got your glasses ordered in, let me know. Send me an email, read the newsletter, and you can let me know your intentions. So that's it.
Thanks for doing that, Mike.
No problem.
And I'll do my monthly plug. If anyone has any articles, links, photos, anything of interest they want to share with the newsletter, please send me the article or the item. And also always looking for memories for this 50th anniversary year to put into the relay.
Question for Jim, the treasurer.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dave.
Give a little status on your evening testing sessions.
Okay, so the evening testing sessions are going real good. I've got let me bring up the numbers again because I don't want to give you fake numbers. It's going real good. The classes are on Sunday for the technician, and I have 13 people that are in the class. Then Tuesday is the general, and I've got 27 in that class. And Thursday is the extra, and I've got 36 in the extra class for a total of 76 people.
Damn.
And I've already had one gentleman that was in my general class. He's already taken the test last Friday and passed. So he decided, I'm done. I'm testing out, and he was good. So we're getting people there.
Needs to join the extra now.
Yeah, and I'm working with Scott to we're going to finish up the technician probably next Sundays, and then the general shortly that week. So we're working to get people through the Zoom testing process. So thanks for asking.
So what's the pace of those classes? Are you doing like a chapter a week or something? Or
So yeah, basically it's about a chapter a week. If they're really super short, like the technician for this for tomorrow, had a couple of shorter chapters, 7 and 8 were on regulation, so I stuffed those together. But generally we leave them about one chapter per week. And what I do is I have everybody purchase the ARRL manual, and then we use the I recommend that they go to the KE0OG Dave Kassler website on YouTube and look at the videos, read the manual, and then come to the class, and we answer classes as a group, or the questions as a group.
and you discuss all the content and stuff like that too, like
Yeah,
questions, stuff like that.
If people have questions in a certain area, then we'll go ahead and review that particular section. But in general, it's review all of the questions in the question pool, and we do follow the order that they're in the book. So it's not necessarily per the element, and it follows the book, so it makes it easier to jump back and forth and into the content.
Great, thanks.
Hey, sorry, we're running really over. So if we don't have any other high priority items, I'd like to end the business meeting. Sorry, I said 20 minutes ago. So if you guys want to chit chat, though, you can stay as long as you want, right?
Hey, David.
Yeah.
Just a quick one. As the outgoing public service trustee, I wanted to bring Robert here in KD7WNB, just kind of good of the order and also maybe even old business. Robert, you want to go ahead on your booklet?
Well, yeah, I just wanted to, I think the board knows this. I've talked to them a month or two ago, but of course, without the swap meet going on this year, we won't have the opportunity to distribute a physical booklet. So at this time, there's no plans to produce the booklet in physical form. I do plan to go ahead on a delayed basis and produce the information, probably put it into a PDF, although that does involve Brendan and me sitting down and doing a bunch of work. But so it'd be in a PDF form of the booklet, and we'd make that downloadable off the website, just as the old one is right now. We'll at least get the information updated. I'm kind of waiting to see how things go with COVID in terms of when I start collecting information on public service events, because obviously at this time, nobody's going to know a whole lot. So I'm thinking I'll start putting the booklet together in March, but it's kind of wait and see. But anyway, that's the plan. There's a possibility we might, if things open up and there's some demand, we might try to do a limited production run of the booklet later in the year, of a physical booklet. But that again was, we'll just have to wait and see how things go.
Thank you, Robert. Okay, David, back to you.
All right. Anything else before we close out? All right. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to end the business meeting.
I so move.
I second that.
Thank you, Sam and Phil. Jim, if you could give us the vote. Oh, there it is. All right.
All righty. Looks like we get to continue with the meeting. Oh, no.
Oh, we had
We're
one
done.
person, of course.
All right. Thanks, everyone. That one person, you're welcome to stay. So
As long as you like.
as long as you like. Thanks everyone for being here. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right.
That
Thanks,
one person
everybody.
Cannot conduct business, however.
That's right. No conducting business, and I'm going to stop the recording.
I was going to comment to Steve, but it looks like he left.